drive-through penalty. You've got a drive-through penalty.
I have never ever been more confused by an FIA decision than at the start of the Saudi Grand Prix. Some rules have always been a bit of a grey zone in Formula 1. Corner cutting, contact between drivers, etc. But there are a couple of rules that are and should always be set in stone. Slam dunk penalties if they are ever broken. And I am of course talking about the Jumpstart. Lando Norris jumped the start and started moving his car before the 5 red lights had gone out. He quickly stopped and stayed still and did not move very far, but it was clear as day to everyone watching that it was a jump start, as Russell was so quick to point out. Now this was actually a mistake on Norris's part, like he said after the race, and the jump start did actually hurt him because he did not get off the line properly at the actual race start. He got no advantage from it. But the problem is not with Lando Norris. The problem is with the FIA and the stewards. Normally, a jump start is penalized with a drive-through penalty, where the driver has to drive through the pit lane without stopping, costing them overall race time as punishment. Norris not only did not get a penalty, but the reason for that is why this situation is so stupid to begin with. According to the FIA report that I will put up on the screen right now, and in simple terms, a sensor tracks the movement inside of the grid box, and that sensor did not detect Norris moving his car. Therefore, no penalty could be handed out because the penalties are only handed out if the sensor goes off. What the actual fuck? We clearly see him move. Who gives a fuck about the sensor? Use your eyes. There are clear rules and regulations about where a car should be in the grid box. Last year in Bahrain and Jeddah, both Alonso and Ocon were penalized for not starting in the correct position inside of their respective grid boxes, which later made the FIA make the grid boxes bigger in Australia. They know where a car should be inside of the grid box. Why were those two penalized? Why no penalty for Norris when his position is even more incorrect? What's the point of all these inconsistencies with how the rules are applied in Formula 1 in the last few years? What's going to happen next because of this? How much can a driver move before the race start without getting penalized? Let's say Leclerc fucks up his grid position in P2. Can he lock in first gear, stamp on the brake, rev his engine and spin his car to point towards Verstappen in P1 for a better dive at turn 1? Surely that must be allowed with the FIA's reasoning, as long as the sensor does not detect it. It's gotta be fine, right? What about corner cutting? Is that tracked by a sensor as well? If the GPS in the car breaks during the corner cut, and we see a video of someone clearly cutting an entire corner and overtaking 6 cars, do we give penalties? Do we check the GPS, or do we just look with our eyes and apply the rulebook? The sport is already hard enough for new fans to follow. Having to explain to someone new why something is penalized once but not other times turns people away from the sport. The rulebook is very easy to understand. So easy in fact that drivers like Fernando Alonso can make steward calls while driving. As a steward, you sit in that chair with the rule book in your hand and 50 screens in front of you. Read the fucking book and apply it. It's not that hard. FIA, please get your shit together. Let me know what you thought about this situation. Should this have been a penalty? Obviously there's no hate towards Lando, it could have been anyone, but the FIA are just really bad and inconsistent as of late. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and thank you for watching.